Episode of the Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Neighborhood Domains. Every business needs a domain name, including yours. Visit neighborhooddomains.com and use offer code MARKETING to get 10% off hosting and domain registration.
On this episode, we are talking about the big four social media platforms. We're talking about some Snapchat news, some Instagram news, some Facebook news, and Twitter news.
Creativity sells. Applying the right creative at the right time is the recipe for great marketing. The Marketing Podcast looks at marketing news and finds the secret ingredients that make great marketing.
Hi, welcome to the Marketing Podcast. I'm Brendan Quigley.
And I'm Heather Watson. How you doing today, Brendan?
Really good.
Great.
As always.
As always, I'm having problems with my microphone for those who are watching or listening and hearing the crunching of the microphone. There we go.
We are in the middle of the World Cup. It's the only sporting event that I actually watch.
Right. A little bit of football.
A little bit of football. I really, really like countries battling other countries in a sport, not a battle.
I feel like it is one, unlike the Olympics, or like the Olympics, but people get really fanatic about it, and the entire world is watching, and that's really, really cool.
What's super exciting is in 2026, Canada, U.S., and Mexico are hosting the World Cup. And what that means is that the Canadian team will get a bye and get in.
Mm-hmm.
And Canada, so Toronto, Calgary, and I believe Vancouver are on the list of cities that could get World Cup games. So
yay,
we could see a World Cup game in Toronto.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would be super cool.
It's a ways off, but it's official.
Cool.
Yeah.
In other non-sports related news, today on the Marketing Podcast, we are talking about social media, the big four. Who are the big four?
Let's see. LinkedIn, Musical.ly,
Google Plus.
Google Plus, high up there. And do I have another one?
Gone but not forgotten.
Telegram. That's
Telegram.
not really.
Vero.
Vero. There we go.
There.
That's the show.
Those are the big four. No, today we're just going to do a little roundup because it seems like, I don't know if it's because of quarterly reports or whatever is coming out, but there seems to be some new announcements coming out of some of the big four who I'm referring to today.
Fear is making these announcements.
Perhaps. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and the Twitter. So let's start with Snapchat. I can't even say it. Are you still on Snapchat? Do you use it much?
With my wife and family members.
Sure. Okay.
But it only because you can send short clips of kids to family and you can, you know what I mean? It's really, really small.
Sure. And being a relatively, I guess I don't want to say newlywed because you've been married for a while, but a young couple, you're probably, at that point where you're still sending risque Snapchats to one another.
Are we, hun? Are you listening?
Is this thing on? So Snapchat has just announced that they will let you retract your risque, embarrassing, or incriminating messages thanks to a new feature called Clear Chats that is going to be rolling out in the next few weeks globally. What?
No, just opinions. We can keep going.
So they have just announced, this is coming out of Engadget, this feature that allows you to delete something. So you would, once you post it, you would go to the message or conversation where the item in question was sent. You can long press on the message or media and then tap delete. And the message will be gone. And friends in the individual group conversation will be alerted that a message was deleted. So anybody who you delete stuff, people are going to know that you've deleted something. If no one has viewed it, then you're all set. But if this, it can't delete, of course, screenshots. So, just be careful what you send people.
I feel like that's the important message here. If someone screenshots it, it's saved forever.
Yeah. It's.
Or if you're nerdy and have a rooted phone with an app that automatically saves all the pictures that come from Snapchat.
The internet never forgets is really the takeaway here.
This is it.
So I think it's just kind of a signal to how Snapchat's changing a little bit. They still like the disappearing messages, but they, I guess, are now recognizing that people want them to disappear a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And to provide a bit more safe environment for people to be less.
And you know what? Changing the grammar, changing the spelling, that is awesome. Because when's the last time you edited a tweet?
I edit tweets.
Never.
I delete and edit tweets if I make a mistake and a typo.
But
I'm that person.
This is at least a way to edit a message.
Yeah.
Not that it sticks around for all that long, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, but and they say that, you know, if somebody will know that you've deleted something, so then that might be just a question in and of itself. I would probably be the person to put something totally innocuous and then delete it and make everybody wonder what the heck I deleted. That would be fun for me. No?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
If you're marketing, though, this doesn't matter to you.
No, I don't think. I think it's just you know, be on guard that these guys are changing, right, as they always do. The next one is Instagram. This one has a lot of marketing relevance, and I'm really excited about this. So it seems like just yesterday, but it was more than a year ago that Instagram changed their algorithm. It's just we've been complaining about it ever since they changed it, where they went from being like chronological or reverse chronological order, so the newest stuff first, to we're just going to show you what we want to show you. And people kind of got upset, and that's where Vero, funny enough, kind of ended up becoming a little bit of a fairy tale replacement. So that happened about a year ago. Now Instagram has finally come out and said, listen, we know we messed with your feed. Here is what it means. So we are using machine learning to look at your past behavior to create a unique feed for everyone. So Brendan, even if you and I followed the exact same accounts, we would still get personalized feeds based on how we interact with those accounts. The more you're favoriting something, the more stuff is going to show up in your feed that's relevant to that. Of course, you're going to get sponsored content based on your demographics and what you put in there. But basically what they're trying to do is help you see more friends and family, and that people will see 90% of their posts from friends and family instead of 50% when it was in the chronological feed.
And how do they... So, I have to say that the chronological feed was nice because you knew what happened since the last time you checked, and that I'm one of the complainers when it switched. But how do they know who your friends are? Are your friends who you follow?
Well, right. Yeah, it's not your friends as in your besties kind of thing. It's just the people who you're following.
Okay.
So
that's good.
It's looking at three important factors now. Not now, then, but now they're just telling us what they are. Interest, timeliness, and relationship. So those are the three most important factors. And I'm going to go into a little bit about this because this really impacts when, as a marketer, as a brand that you're trying to get your brand in front of people, these are things that you want to know. So the first one is interest. So it's predicting how much you'll care about a post. And I said this, the more they think that you'll like that post, the higher it appears in your feed. And it's based on, quote, past behavior on similar content and potentially machine vision analyzing in the actual content of the post. So it's kind of like the Instagram Explore page. Once you like a particular video, your entire Explore page is full of similar videos. So if someone in your feed posts a video similar to that, then guess what? It's going to show up because they're assuming that you're going to like that. The other thing is, and this has been a real pain for me, is timeliness.
Especially for events. No, timeliness.
Yeah.
Like you're seeing events that are long past.
Right.
And you're kind of getting grumpy because you would have gone if you had seen it earlier.
Yeah. And I think people, marketers, businesses who are like having a sale this weekend or at the sale today need to recognize that they need to start posting that content and that telling the story about that event. If you want people to come to the event, you need to start telling that story a week or more in advance of that event. And that's not just on Instagram, by the way.
And definitely put if you're making like a creative for that, put the date in the creative too, so that it's not just like this Thursday or this weekend because...
Yeah. Is it coming? Has it passed? I don't know. So one of the things that they have cleaned up is how long ago the photo was posted. The new Instagram algorithm will prioritize recent posts, so you'll hopefully see fewer posts from over a week ago. But you will be seeing them a week out. So again, if you're like, come to our sale tomorrow, come to our event tomorrow, you need to back that up and say, come this Saturday, a week out. So they want to keep people up to date, but they also recognize that there's probably some good sponsorship advertising dollars to, like, if you want it to show up for tomorrow's event, guaranteed, pay for placement and then you'll get it.
Right. Okay.
Right. But if you're trying to get that organic reach, you have to start earlier. And finally, that third piece is relationships. So how do you know this person? So if you're commenting a lot on somebody's photos, or if you happen to be tagged in photos with them, that's where that friends and family kind of come in. So, you want to make sure that you are engaging with the people who you want to engage with.
And I think this is where the hack is. That's not really a hack. It's just engagement. So, going into your comments on your posts and engaging with the people who comment on things you put out or like the things you put out will increase the likelihood of you being shown to them again, because you will come up as a better relationship.
Right.
Don't ignore people who comment. You should be responding
to them, talking to other people, even, so that people are engaging with you.
Adding new, definitely.
Yeah. Some other factors. So those are the top 3. Some other factors are frequency. So how often is the user opening the app? If it's a frequent user, you'll see more of a chronological thing, because they're kind of, I think, running out of things to show you, right? Like if you're in there 10 times a day, they're going to start showing you more stuff. If you're in there less frequently, they're just going to show you, the key things that they think you'll like, because they want to keep you engaged, right? Until you kind of cross whatever that, tipping point is that Instagram has identified. They're looking at following. So how many people does a user follow on Instagram? If you follow a ton of people, then Instagram obviously has a whole bunch more people that they can start serving you stuff from. So you won't see all the photos from every account. But if you're only following a few people, and I don't know what the definition is by their terms, what a lot or a few are, but if you're following a small handful of people, then they've only got a small pool of stuff to show you. Your usage. So if you're spending time really just exploring it, they're going to show you a whole bunch more content as well. One of the things that came up, though, was around the use of hashtags. And the article doesn't talk about this in Engadget, but it does. It's an interesting point. There was a point in time where they thought, well, if you if you use too many hashtags, then you are diluting the market. People aren't seeing your stuff that much. The reality is that wasn't and isn't an issue. So continue to use hashtags, but use smart ones. And some of the conversation around hashtags that we've been having lately is, if you are using hashtag water, everybody who's talking about anything to do with water, chances are people aren't going to see that. As many people, sure, millions and millions of people are using that hashtag, but because of the algorithm, it's only going to get served to a few people. If you want to talk about refreshing water, fewer people are using it, but it's more likely to be served to more people because it's a smaller audience, which seems a little backwards. So keep it more niche and specific to your uses.
I would also say don't just go look up the trending hashtags and add it to your post. It doesn't really help you.
It's just going to be like a flash in the pan, right? Like if 20 million people are using a hashtag and all of a sudden you jump on that hashtag, those 20 million people, it's shown to and disappears. Where if you do something that's a little bit more micro to what you're talking about, then it'll hang around for a while to the right audience.
I feel like this is like flashbacks to short tail and long tail keywords for search and what you're buying. Like really you're looking for the hashtag that best describes what you're doing, or the hashtags. I shouldn't say the single, right?
Yep.
And I don't feel the need to go the hashtag block. I don't feel the need for that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to reach who you're going to reach. You want to reach your audience. You don't want to reach everybody else's. Yeah,
using related hashtags is important, right? It's like coffee, hashtag I love coffee, hashtag, espresso, like whatever is related works. But keep it, it's like more like I love coffee as opposed to hashtag coffee, because so many people are doing hashtag coffee.
Yeah.
Whereas if you really just want to talk to coffee lovers, go to that audience instead.
Go hashtag coffee right now.
There you go. Moving on to Facebook. This one just came out the other day too, out of Reuters, a study that they did. The number of people who are using Facebook as a news source has decreased. Which I think is very telling in the state of, we've kind of gone through this whole fake news thing, and Facebook has announced that they're going to be trying to make sure people have more credible news. Authorities are going to be boosted if they're authorities as opposed to people who aren't. So basically the number of people is down by 9% overall from 2017 highs, which is down a whopping 20% among younger audience. And this, like I say, came out of a Reuters Institute survey. Researchers behind the study partly blame the fall in the news consumption on social media apps, like Facebook's messaging apps or Facebook's own WhatsApp. So they're starting to cannibalize themselves a little bit. The researchers point out that while many still use Facebook and Twitter to discover news, they then post links to the news article in a private WhatsApp group where they feel safe discussing the subject among friends. As one research study, or within the study, they put that. The use of social media for news has started to fall in a number of key markets after years of continuous growth. We continue to see a rise in the use of messaging app as consumers look for more private and less confrontational spaces to communicate. So we're still consuming news. We're just not discussing news in Facebook.
I totally understand. I totally get it.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is I'd add to this, I've been using like Feedly for a while, and then I switched over to Google News, and recently Google did an update in their app, and it's a little button, and they're calling it context. So when they give you a major headline, they've got a system that puts together, a whole bunch of different sources for the same news topic, and you can choose where to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, we're seeing a decline in Facebook because of fake news, quote unquote. This is Google's response to fake news is, for these big news stories, we're going to give you multiple sources, not one.
Right. And I think they need to, because, and this study went in a little bit deeper and said that fewer than half the people surveyed said that they trusted media most of the time. They trust most news most of the time. But it's like people need to feel that they're getting credible news sources, right?
And I really like the context thing too, because sometimes, like, I'm looking at one here that's, BBC is the top news article, but when you click through, you can choose from CBC, The Star, The Globe and Mail, and those are Canadian sources. And so I can choose, like, if I'm accustomed to reading one of those, I can go to my source because I know their bias, and away we go.
Yeah, and it's funny that you just listed those ones, because the survey later on kind of reveals, when they break it down, that news brands with a broadcasting brand and a long heritage tended to be trusted the most, with popular newspapers and digital-born brands trusted less. So public broadcasters scored well, which is BBC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
CBC.
Globe and
Yeah.
CBC, like the Globe